to punish Baltimore for their mistakes here.
It's a third down and long situation. Mike Dazzler thrives in this. He's top 10 in the league for third down conversions. So we'll see how he handles this situation here.
Dazzo over the middle, caught! There was nobody in close coverage. Everybody went deep, and Baltimore converts on a 3rd and 9 to extend the drive.
Well, that's one of those ways to punish that sort of defense. You know that they're going to be covered deep because they know how many yards you need to gain, so you just throw it over the middle, see what you can get there.
That was Edward Morgan on the reception out to the Baltimore 30. So a 15-yard gain on the play. And here's another deep throw in a one-on-one coverage, and what a catch down the field! Bishop Warfield climbs the ladder and makes a spectacular catch into Vancouver territory at the 47-yard line.
Right there, sometimes a step or two is just enough to be considered wide open, and that's how many steps of separation Warfield had on his defender, and he had great leverage to get to that ball there. So great job by Warfield to come down with the grab.
Dazzo alone in the backfield again, gonna fire over the middle again, and it's up, picked off. Good coverage there from Xander Mack. That's the free safety for Vancouver coming down and getting his hands on the ball. A little bit of the momentum is broken for the Vultures, and it's 2nd down and 10.
You can't be testing Vancouver on every down now. They still top 10 in the league in takeaways. They had that title last season. They were number 1 in the league in takeaways last season.
A very dangerous secondary indeed. Here's T-Roy Gaines. Easily slides through the defensive line and is taken out by the linebacking core after a 5-yard gain. Clock now down under 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. Time quickly slipping away here on 11 Sports. Baltimore up 7-0 on the road in Vancouver, British Columbia at Canada Field tonight, wearing their white helmets, white jerseys, black pants with red trim. 3rd and 5. Dazzo's short drop, but he's going to be sacked. The offensive line went out to lunch, and here comes the Blue Demons on the defensive line. Franklin makes a sack, and the drive is stalled.
That had to be a defensive tackle of how fast he got to the line there. He just pushed through the center and just went right into the quarterback. Quarterback didn't even start dropping back before he went down.
The punter is Pablo Gates. The punt is going to be fielded at the 10 and out to the 12-yard line. We're going to take a break and come back. The Vancouver Legion are going to try and even up the score. Here is the Simulation Football League on 11 Sports Network. British Columbia. This is the Simulation Football League, Week 4 of our 13th season. Michael Cirillo, Levant Mercer in the booth calling this one as Baltimore faces off against Vancouver. Here's Tom Pepper under center on 1st and 10 from his own 12-yard line. Handoff to Suda Takai for 3 yards as the clock will tick down under 20 seconds to go in the first quarter, and I think that might just about do it for the opening frame of play.
And how fast was that?
Look at that.
And we are going to take another break. When we come back, it's quarter number 2. Vultures, Legion 7-0. That's the end of the first quarter. This is the Simulation Football League on the 11 Sports Network. broadcast on 11 Sports is presented by APM Music, production music library and custom music house, and brought to you in part by Fuel Beyond Imagination. Visit the all-new SFLinteractive.net today. By Matt Doyle Designs, the official branding partner of the SFL. By MediaTek Institute, turn your passion into your profession. Aerial shots throughout the season provided to you by AirViews, united by drone. Visit airviews.com to see more drone footage. Back for the second quarter. Michael Chirillo, Lovat Mercer with you at Canada Field as Vancouver is facing a 2nd and 7 from their own 15-yard line. Here's a handoff left side to Sudo Nakai, breaks a tackle, gets a block, and is going to get most of the way there to the first down marker. It'll be 3rd and 2 for the next play.
You know, both of these teams like running a West Coast offense, so we're going to see a lot of time get milked off the clock on each of these possessions. So this game should be going by really quickly. But one key for both teams this game is who converts the most on 3rd down, because when you have two very similar styles, sometimes it just comes down to who executes better.
And on this 3rd and 2, it's going to be Nakai getting the call, running freely through the middle of the defense, way up to Vancouver 29. They call Nakai's number, and number 44 gets the job done. Fresh shutdowns for the Legion.
You know, for the past couple of seasons, Vancouver hasn't been getting a lot of production out of their running backs, and now with Sudo Nakai, they've been doing a lot better on that front. Last season, they had Sanchez, who wasn't necessarily the most, the fastest runner, but he was able to get down and do some damage.
Here's Nakai again, 3rd consecutive play. He'll fall forward for 3 yards. And it's something that Vancouver has been able to trick teams they've played with this season so far. Whether they mostly swing Nakai out wide for passes or run him up the middle. We saw a lot of swing pass last week against Mexico City, and today they're running him more up the middle into the teeth of the defense with no stars on the defensive line. Here's a 2nd and 7. Pepper going to hand it off to Nakai again. He's got a big hole. He makes a spin move and gets a first down out past the 40 to the 42-yard line. Well, they keep going back to him, and second verse save is the first for Sudo Nakai.
There you just go again. There's no penetration up in the front 7 right here. He has all day to run. Just the widest gap created by the offensive line to get him through. If he keeps doing that, it's going to be a long day for Baltimore.
And this is something they really didn't have much of in the first half. It was mostly on the arm of Tom Pepper, and he had that one big completion, but other than that, not much offensively. Here's Nakai again, bouncing it outside for 4. And he was eventually brought down by Amon Takes. Highlighting a little bit of the linebacker core for Baltimore, we've got Amon Takes and Joe Dazzo, who is in his 8th season in the Simulation Football League, and the father of Baltimore quarterback Mike Dazzo.
Yeah, it's not often you get to see father and son on the same team. They're not on the same side of the ball, but that's still an impressive feat.
They'll spread it out for 4 receivers on 2nd and 6, and the offensive line makes a big hole, and the defensive line runs right through it and sacks Tom Pepper for the 2nd time tonight. Albert Butler with the sack that time.
Well, that time someone missed their engagement, number 79 there, as we see. Did not shift over to the right in time to prevent Turner from coming through. Sometimes when you see that happen, as a guard, you're going to need to just decide to pull from your engagement and just try to do the best you can. He didn't even do that there.
Now 3rd and 14, and the pass is caught out of bounds. Bad, really, because Pratchard had room to run up the field if he could have got his feet set, but it's going to be another punt from Johnston.
That right there is he just let his receiver momentum just took him out of bounds, and there's nothing you could do about that. Just you had to set your feet before you throw, and just got to lead your receiver better.
Oh yeah, punter, I'm coming. I'm blocking this.
Copy.
Johnston from his own 25-yard line gets it away under pressure. Giovanni Bolt fields at the 30, or 25 rather, and gets out to the 30-yard line. We're going to take a break and come back to Canada Field in a moment. Baltimore is still on top of Vancouver, 7-0. Welcome back to Canada Field Simulation Football League action on a Monday night. Mike Willow, Lavont Mercer in the booth for you calling this one. And it's an I formation. First and 10 at their own 30-yard line, going right to left in the second quarter. And T-Roy Gaines skip past one defender, another defender, and his stiff arm, and he's in the open field. Past the 50 to the 40, to the 30, to the 20. He is gone. Put it on the board. T-Roy Gaines with a dynamite touchdown to double the Vulture lead.
That's what we were talking about at the top of the broadcast here, that Vancouver needed to stop Gaines because he has this type of potential in him. Just look at him right there. Well, as soon as he got through the secondary, we just knew he was gone. Look at this man go. There was no way after that anyone was going to catch him. And that's just the type of just breakaway potential this man has.
There's a reason T-Roy Gaines is one of the best running backs in the Simulation Football League, and it was all on play right there. Shiftiness, power, breakaway speed, you name it, he's got it. And Charkington is an extra point away from doubling up on Vancouver 14-0. And the Vancouver defense looked a little bit lost on how to stop T-Roy Gaines there.
Well, there were more than 10 men in the box there, but when nobody's able to penetrate the line and they're not able to force him and keep him inside, there's a force in a cutback, man. When they're not able to keep him inside, then there's no one stopping him after that. There's only one member of the secondary to beat, and, T-Roy is a pretty big dude. He's going to get through most men, so, that's just what's going to happen there.
You want football? We've got football for you. You saw our upcoming broadcast schedule on 11 Sports and 11 Sports Next on the screen right there. Remember, so coming up right after this game on 11 Sports is the SFL documentary. If you want to find out more about what the SFL is and how you can be a part of it, stay tuned for that. Then 8:30 p.m. Eastern right here on the 11 Sports Network. It's our game of the week as Tallahassee faces off against Denver. Now Vancouver in a 14-point hole, trying to dig themselves out of it with 7:36 to go in the first half. Pepper back to pass, throwing to the near side. He's got a receiver, and it's incomplete as Pratchett is out of bounds again.
There's just, all those timing routes require a quick release at a certain point of the. As soon as the wide receiver breaks, you got to get the ball out. And Pepper's just not in sync with his receivers right there. He keeps leading them out. Dude, he's going to get through most men. So, that's just out of bounds. He needs to throw it as soon as they break.
Offset eye behind Pepper, who's under center. Single receiver out to the near side right. Here's Shudo Nakai. He's been the main man for Vancouver so far tonight offensively, but he only gets 3 yards. You see he's up to 43 on the day. Taken down by Amon Takes for the second time, and every time they've run left, Amon Takes is there.
They have no answer on him. They're not able to get around them. They need to get more blockers to him.
7 steps off for Pepper, pumps over the middle, caught. He is in quadruple coverage, but somehow the receiver found some space and picked up a huge first down for Vancouver. That was a big play there.
Right there. As soon as he broke, he hesitated a little bit on throwing the ball. That's something that needs to change, but that low pass is exactly what you need to do in that coverage. You see that many in coverage, you gotta, if that's the receiver you're trying to throw it to, you gotta make it safe for him.
Good pitch and catch, and if you want Rich Pratchett, who made the catch, to stay in bounds, you throw it to him nowhere near the sideline. It's an easy solution to your problem. First down and 10 for the Vancouver 41. Here's a dump off to Nakai, and Nakai will get 2. Excuse me, that's not Nakai, that's the fullback, who is Brick Wall, number 31.
Right there, that time they had enough men covering the flats there, and they seem to have adjusted for all the swing passes that Vancouver had thrown against Mexico City last week. They took the tape, and that's what you have to do against those passes.
Handoff this time to Nakai. He again running left, met immediately at the line of scrimmage by the Vancouver defense. Amon Takes was there. Kaz McFly was there. Tony Willis also in the area.
Throwing the balls, that's something that needs to change, but that low pass is exactly what you need.
Yeah, just white hats fly into the ball every time number 44 in blue touches it.
Now that right there is this honestly what you need to do. You have to force the running back to just divert his lane and change his direction somewhere where he wasn't intending to run right into your defense.
Pepper this time goes to Nakai on the near side, and he ran away from the teeth of the defense, but still not able to get to the first down marker. It's going to be 4th and 2, just on the Vancouver side of midfield, and out comes Johnston to punt again. So 3 empty drives in the first half for the Vancouver Legion.
You know, when you're behind like
That was a penalty flag on the play. We're going to go to see what the referee has to say about it. Oh my goodness. Baltimore jumped off sides, and Vancouver's going to get a fresh set of downs. That may be the first time I've ever seen that on a punt, and I've been calling SFL games for the past 3 years.
sometimes the block team the gunners just get a little too antsy and try to jump the snap. That time they got thrown off and just went off sides there.
Here's Nakai, gets a yard off the right side. Now, the Vancouver Legion have been given an absolute gift with 4 minutes and 30 seconds and counting to go in the first half to put some points up there and lower this gap before halftime. They were all set to punt it away, and Baltimore jumped off sides on the punt in 4th and 2. Pepper under center on 2nd and 9. Handoff, Nakai up the middle looking for a running lane. Gets a spin move and almost gets a first down. Is going to be less than a yard short as Hendricks Thornberry made the tackle.
Honestly, if Thornberry did not make that tackle there, we could have been saying that Nakai would have scored a touchdown. Just look at how open that lane is. But that right there is a very clutch tackle right there by Hendricks Thornberry.
Thornberry touchdown saving shove to the ground on Suda Nakai. Here's 3rd down and inches. Here's a big play for the Legion. Already trailing in this one 14-0, 3:50 to go in the first half. Here's Nakai looking for a lane, and he's stopped up and dropped. Tony Willis did just enough to slow Nakai down, and Amon Takes finished the job. It's going to be 4th and 2.
That's one of those times as a running back, you have to push the pile. You have to get your hand out there. You kind of have to know where your blockers are. He had a chance.
The offense still out there on 4th down and 2. Will they just try and draw them off sides for a second time in the drive, or will they actually snap it? I'm always in favor of snapping the ball in this position, but most times coaches don't listen. And it looks like they will try and draw them off sides, burn a timeout, and now indeed punt the ball away from the Baltimore 38.
I just don't understand this. I've seen this in this league way too much. I just feel like if you're going to line up and you're going to try, you just snap the ball and you run the play. If you're going to do this anyway, I would have preferred them even attempt a field goal from this range instead of what they just did, but that's just me.
Now Johnston on to punt. He's going to be doing so from just about midfield, trying to pin Baltimore deep for the second time this evening, and he's got a great chance of doing so, and they're down to the Baltimore 5. Man, I tell you, this Vancouver punting game has been amazing tonight. And we will be back after the break. Can Baltimore once again break out of the shadow of their own net? Stay tuned to find out. This is the SFL, presented by APM Music on 11 Sports. Michael Cirillo, Levant Mercer in the booth at Canada Field, and Baltimore is backed up inside their own 5 for the second time tonight. The last time this happened, they got a touchdown out of it, and here's T-Roy Gaines again, breaking tackles going all the way up to the 32-yard line. Well, they didn't stay in the shadow of their own end zone long, from 5 all the way out to the 2 as T-Roy Gaines shows off the once again.
That's once again, that front 7 is just not able to get any penetration through that line. They're not able to force him back inside. And that's why he keeps breaking off those long runs. If you're not able to do those things, you're just going to be punished for it.
Here is Gaines again up the middle. Stopped for a gain of 1. And last week, I mentioned off the top of the broadcast, but Baltimore defeated the Carolina Skyhawks 28-16. That was the SFL's 1,000th game. A monumentous occasion for the league, and we were all there to witness it at the SFL convention in Atlanta. Here's an I formation on 2nd and 9. Throw out to the flat for Gaines, who spins out of 1 tackle but cannot get away from Mark Lopez. And it'll be 3rd down and 4. And that is the 2-minute warning here in Canada Field. Baltimore with the ball, up 14. This is the SFL, presented by APM Music on 11 Sports. Baltimore with the 14-0 lead and the football with 2 minutes to go in the first half from Canada Field. It's been a very quick first half, a lot of run plays for each side, but no threat of a run here with 5 wide receivers. And here's that pass over the middle of the field. It's knocked away by Mark Lopez.
Right there, they just did not read the defense very well there. Like, the defense was in cover 3. That right there, just right into the teeth of the zone. Not really pressured there. He had a receiver open for a moment, but he let him in too far, right where all the members of the secondary were. Just look at it again. There's at least 6 players there. Needed to get the ball out sooner.
There's also good pressure up the middle from Kevin Brackett, the defensive end. Forced Dazzler to shift in the pocket and maybe threw off his aim a little bit, and Baltimore will be forced to punt. Vancouver will get another chance to get on the scoreboard before the half is over with 2 timeouts and 1:57 to go. The punter for Baltimore is Pavlo Gates. He will get the punt away from his own 25-yard line. And from the 25 of Vancouver, it is returned up to the 27. Now, Levant, if you were able to whisper in the ear of Andy Hamilton, head coach of Vancouver sideline right now, to get his offense into the end zone, what was the one thing you'd say to him?
Right now, he's just going to have to start trusting the arm of his quarterback a bit more. He's going to have to go with those 90 XC posts and just go try to go deep with him.
Here's a run from Nakai. The blocker downfield missed it, but it doesn't matter because Nakai broke a tackle and he's gone down the field. 15-10-5 put it on the board. Well,
I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter, does it, what I think? Because, you know, they proved me wrong right here. They went back to Nakai. He went out to the outside and just proved me wrong right here, right fast, right quick. Look at this man. Just look at him. Look at all those blocks. Those are the blocks you need at the edge. That last tackler, 8-3, he's gone. And you know who also is gone? Nakai into the end zone. Gone.
I thought the play was dead when that last tackler came across and the offensive lineman out front missed the block. But nope, Nakai shrugged him off and went all the way down the field for the touchdown. Vancouver answers back in a big way, and it's been the battle of the running backs so far tonight, breaking off big runs for their respective teams. Gaines has got a long touchdown. Now Nakai says, I can do you one better. I can get you a longer touchdown. As Bukowski kicks the extra point up and through, and it is 14-7. So momentum for Vancouver going into the half, as there is a lot more football coming up on 11 Sports tonight, 7:30 Central Time. It's the game of the week on 11 Sports Network between Tallahassee and Denver. And tomorrow we've got two games for you, Charleston and Las Vegas, and Chicago and San Francisco, all on the 11 Sports Network, the new home for the Simulation Football League. Giovanni Bolt returns up to the Baltimore 29. And if you were wondering, what is this? What am I watching? This is the Simulation Football League. It is the first ever controllerless esport. Teams made up of real-life owners, players, and coaches submit their game plans each week, and the result is played out live on the field for all to see. Here is Dazzo. Here is Gaines out of the backfield, and he stiff arms the defender out for 5 yards.
You know, at least one thing that Vancouver can hang their hats on right now is that when they try to throw it out of the backfield to Gaines, they've been able to contain the flats just as well as Baltimore has done them. They just need to get more penetration in the running game.
As you see on the right-hand side of the screen is the chat in the 11 Sports Next Twitch channel. It is the main hub, as Gaines was up the field again for 2. The main hub for our community to chat during the games, and our duty as broadcasters to interact with the chat during games. If you want to be a part of our community, head on over to that chat room, and also to simulationfl.net, where you can find the link to our Discord server and get involved, as that pass is almost batted away, but tapping the toes and getting the first down as Bishop Warfield up to the 39-yard line.
That's one of the rare times I can't really fault the defender. That time he just needed to break to the ball a little late. That time he just needed to just delay when he needed to break to the ball there. He had the right idea to play the ball, not the receiver, because he wasn't really in place to hit the receiver to try to jar it loose. He just needed to, wait a moment or two before making that attempt.
1:03 to go. Here's 1st and 10 for the Vultures. Dazzle going long. Oh, man. Daly Holder was in all the space in the world. If he had come up with that catch, he would have been God. But Mike Dazzo just overthrew it. And it's going to be 2nd and 10 back at the 39.
It's just what happens sometimes. You see someone's finally broke open. You see him, you get a little happy, and then you just kind of let it go all kinds of wrong. And that's what happens sometimes.
Dazzle on 2nd and 10 over the middle into the soft zone. Pass is caught by Holder. Just shy of the first down. They're going to go up-tempo with less than a minute to go now. 49 seconds and counting. Baltimore still has 3 timeouts in this first half. Dazzle pressured, and he's going to be sacked. Back at the 46-yard line. It's going to be 4th and 3. Clock continues to run, and I think Baltimore has said, it's time. We're going to go to the locker room with this 7-point advantage.
That's something that Vancouver was looking for all day long. Some pressure up the line. They've been able to hurry the quarterback, but they haven't just yet gotten to the quarterback until just then. That's really what they're going to need to do. They need to get into Dazzle's head if they want to get back into this game.
And they're going to run the clock all the way down. So this will be the last play of the first half. Punt is away from Pablo Gates. Fielded at the 15-yard line. Oh, breaking a tackle. Almost getting free is Brandon Jacobson, and that will take us to the end of the first half. Baltimore on top 14-7. Lamont, what did you see out of both teams in this half?
Just so far, it just seems like Baltimore's been the more efficient team so far, but it's been pretty close so far. What The big issue right now for Vancouver is just they need to convert on third down. That's why they're behind in this game. As you can see, they're just not getting it done in the air. They've had more time in possession, but they're right there, 59 yards of passing. They're just not getting it done up in the air. That 7 points was on a run play that, you know, had Suda Nakai not broken that last tackle, probably would not have been a score. So that's something they really need to work on. That right there, they also need to tighten up on their coverage, as we see the touchdown by Holder here. They seem to be letting those seams go, and they need to tighten up there. Now, when it comes to Baltimore, they've had quite a great game so far. They've only been beaten once right here on this play that we see here. They've only been beaten once on the air, but they've been getting to the quarterback. They've been stuffing the running lanes for the most part, except for that deep strike touchdown by Nakai. And generally, they've just been having a very balanced and controlled attack, controlled aggression throughout the game. And if they can continue that, they're going to be well positioned in the second half.
We're going to go back to the Simulation Football League Commissioner Kevin Irvine at the SFL studio to see what other SFL news is happening on a Monday night.
Thank you, Michael. Back here at SFL Studios in the Metroplex in North Texas. 14-7 Baltimore leads Vancouver at the half. There is other action going on in the SFL tonight. The Carolina Skyhawks have a 13-7 halftime advantage on New Orleans. Logan Jack has a rushing touchdown for the Pharaohs to help keep them in the ball game, but somebody's going to get their first win in that one. For now, the third quarter about to get underway from Canada. Back to Levant and Michael in Canada.
Welcome back to the second half of football action. It's the Baltimore Vultures and the Vancouver Legion on Monday night in the Simulation Football League. A very good evening to all of you listening around the world. I'm your play-by-play commentator, Michael Cirillo, joined in the booth by SFL analyst Levant Mercer. As we kick off the second half of action, Vancouver in a hole, but they get the ball first as 5 yards deep in the end zone. Here is Jacobson, makes a spin move and gets out to the 22-yard line. Baltimore came out of the gate hot in the first half, scored the first 14 points, but the momentum seemingly in Vancouver's court as we went to the break, Levant.
Yeah, that touchdown towards the end of the second half by Suda Nakai really made this a game again, and now it's down to Tom Pepper to get the passing game going, and maybe Suda Nakai is the key to unlocking that door.
Throw on first down out to Pratchett, who this time turns the corner, keeps his feet in bounds, and gets up to the Vancouver 41-yard line. Well, third time of asking, third time's the charm as Pratchett gets a first down.
They probably were working on that on the break, and that right there is just a lapse of coverage right there. There's no one. They all went down deep, and they didn't have anyone covering these out routes that have been the bread and butter of most teams in this league, and that's how you do it to perfection there this time.
See chat on the screen on the right. If you want to jump in and join the conversation, 11 Sports Next channel on twitch.tv. That's where you can interact with everybody on our community, including the running back for the Vancouver Legion, Suda Nakai, who just got 9.5 yards on first down.
Honestly, they may not even need to rely on the passing game if Nakai is able to get 7 to 9 yards. That once again, no penetration on the line there. He was just able to find the easiest gap to run through, easy as you like. Almost got a first down out of it.
I see Kanye262 is new in the chat, and thanks to everybody already in the SFL for helping him out. Yes, we are a controllerless esport, the first one in the world. Is Pepper going long? Pepper's got a man! Pepper to the end zone! Put it on the board! Touchdown, Vancouver!
And this is what we were talking about before the break. What they needed to do is to get that passing game open. And that's the way to do it right there. Just throw it to Moose. Craig Hearn from Canada busting through the seams right there in his home country, making it big here today, tying up the game. wide open up the seam. Once again, no one covering him. Coverage down deep, but the safety can't help anyone if there's no one sticking everyone. So that's what happened right there. Big play.
That play looked almost identical to Craig Hearn's touchdown last week against Mexico City. Just nobody covering the tight end, and he scampers in for the touchdown in his home country, his home stadium. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a tie football game. 9:46 to go in the third quarter, and that's exactly the start you need if you're the Vancouver Legion.
That's how they were starting at the end of the second quarter there with that touchdown. Now momentum shifted all the way back to their end. Let's see what Baltimore does in this next drive to answer back.
So yeah, Kanye262 in the chat. Welcome to the SF. Go on over to simulationfl.net, jump onto our Discord server, and join the community. And everybody in there is super helpful and will help you get started right away. I am your play-by-play commentator, Michael Chirillo. My analyst is Levant Mercer, and I want to give chat shout-outs to everybody in the 11 Sports Next Twitch channel. Ram Voice, Tom Pepper, I'm an Effin' Problem, TJ Cags, SFL, TMG82, Lloyd Graham, Jay Core, British Canadian Moose, AJ Today, Jackson the Mouse King, and Jay Wowza, and everybody else joining us tonight. Here is Dazzle down the middle, got a man, first down and 10 and a 10-yard gain up to the Baltimore 43-yard line.
Those are just those intermediate routes that are stop right there. They're meant to beat certain coverages, and both teams have been trying to cover the deep routes, trying not to beat up top, and that's challenging these quarterbacks to try to beat them underneath, and they've been rising to that challenge so far in this game. Another completion there by Dazzlo on those intermediate routes.
Second catch of the game on the last play for Edward Morgan. Here's T-Roy Gaines, and he's met in the hole. Drop for a gain of nothing. Beautiful play there by the Vancouver defense. That was Caden Carter, the linebacker. I don't think we've called his name tonight, but he stepped up big there.
And that right there was just an A-gap blitz, and they did run it through that gap, did not identify that before the play, and that's why it worked.
Second and 10, over the middle, into double coverage. What an amazing catch by Daly Holder. Across midfield to the Vancouver 37-yard line.
Now, some receivers in this league just require to be doubled at all times, and sometimes that just doesn't even matter. And that right there is just a great example of it right there. Daly Holder, quite honestly, just doesn't care how many you put on him. If he has any yard, any space at all, he's going to make the grab, and he's going to make defenses look silly.
Holder, the 5-season veteran, formerly played for the San Antonio Vaqueros, coming over here 3 seasons ago. Here's T-Roy Gaines breaking 1 tackle, breaking 2 tackles, and getting 8 yards. It takes 3 blue shirts to bring down T-Roy, and that's just the kind of power he brings up the middle.
Not only that, right there, he just went right through the blitz. They just identified it correctly this time on the line and just shifted the play before and then just pushed right through. And Gaines is really good at just powering through defenders.
Handoff, Gaines, first down and more, dives his way up to the Vancouver 23-yard line. And a tackle made there by Mark Lopez as this Baltimore offense continues to seek its revenge here in the second half.
You have very many moving parts that are just hard to deal with. You have Warfield on one side. You have Holder on. Gaines is just gashing up through the middle here. And it's got to drive defensive coordinators mad.
Gazzo out to Gaines. He's got a blocker in front of him, but the blocker misses the man he was intended to block, and Gaines only gets 3. Kyler Murray, the corner, makes that tackle. And something that we mentioned right off the top of the broadcast is the win the turnover battle, but nobody's turned it over, and we're over 2.5 quarters into the ballgame. Second and 7. Daz with a wide open receiver on the far side. It's going to be first down and 10 at the 12 inside the SFL, presented by APM Music Red Zone. For the second time today, Tyrone Means grabs the catch there. That's the tight end.
That's just one of those keys to avoiding turnovers right there. You just see that the coverage likes to be soft. They like to stay deep, so you keep calling intermediate and soft passing plays to make sure that you just keep it safe. And that's all that you need to do sometimes, just manage the game.
Handoff up the middle to T-Roy Gaines, goes nowhere. Second down and 10 from 12. Clock running now 5:55 and counting in the third quarter. We've got one other game going on currently tonight, and then one more this evening. You could also like the SFL on Facebook at Simulation FL. Dazzo over the middle, tipped it, almost intercepted. Beautiful jump on the route there by Caden Carter, and it's going to be 3rd and 10.
As one thing does change when you're in the red zone, you don't have that much space. Every defender covers so much more ground when there's less ground to actually cover. So even if they do decide to try to cover deep, there's not a lot behind the cover. So now they're in position to get in the way of those passes.
It's the difference between deep being 10 yards downfield and 30 yards downfield. Here's the 3rd and 10. Dazzo steps into the pocket, goes to the back of the end zone, and it's picked off! We were just talking about turnovers, and Vancouver converts the first one of the ball game. Gus Schultz, strong safety, strong play, Vancouver ball.
He had a couple last week, and now he just continues on his strong torrid pace through the league since his rookie year. He's been just the man for Vancouver, one of the captains of that defense. Doing it again.
Gus Schultz, his 3rd interception on the season. And now Tom Pepper and company back to work for Vancouver. Soft throw into double coverage gets 3 yards to Craig Hearn on a crossing route. And now if Vancouver can score and take the lead, that'll be huge for the fans. The home crowd's been behind him ever since the first quarter. As you see once again the live chat up there on the right-hand side of your screen, reacting to the interception in the end zone. Here is Shudo Nakai, gets a block, gets the edge, and gets a first down and a 10-yard gain up to the Vancouver 32-yard line.
Right there, just having blocks seal off the edge once again from Nakai. We'll just look at it again. That's one thing that they just haven't been doing Baltimore too often, is just getting to the edge. They have to just rely on just Amon, and that's really what they can't be doing. They need to get more men on the ball carrier. Amon cannot do it all for the defense as much as he believes he wants.
Offset I. 2 receivers left, 1 to the right for Pepper. Plenty of time to throw, goes out to the far side, and just again, Rich Pratchett cannot keep his feet in bounds. It's going to be 2nd and 10. I thought he had that one. That might be worth challenging.
But in a close game like this, and still the third quarter, that's one of those that you just know that you've thrown a couple earlier in the game just like it. You might not be favored to win that challenge.
Well, Andy Hamilton, the coach for the Vancouver Legion, the flag in his pocket. Heavy set. Here's Nakai on 2nd and 10, rather. Plenty of room to run. Tries to spin out of a tackle, but Hendricks Thornberry is there to bring him down after a gain of 5. And if you want to learn more about the Simulation Football League, you can follow us on any social media you can think of. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all at / or at SimulationFL, and use the hashtag #MakeAnImpact to get involved with us on social media. Here's 3rd and 5 to the near side for Killian. And again, Pepper leads the receiver too far, and it's going to be 4th down.
On that pass, I wouldn't say that. On that pass, I wouldn't say that's what happened there. I feel like this time he threw a low pass. This time the receiver just kind of kept going.
Well, either way, it's an empty position for Vancouver, and Baltimore breathes a sigh of relief. And so they do not give up any points off of the turnover. And here is Johnston to punt it away from his own 25. Fair catch called for and made by Giovanni Volt at his 26-yard line. We're going to take a break and be right back from Vancouver This is the Simulation Football League on the 11 Sports Network. Stay with us. Simulation Football League. You can follow us on any social make an impact to get involved with us on social media. Here's third and Michael Trillo, Levant Mercer in the commentary booth for this one from Canada Field in Vancouver, British Columbia. And it's currently a 14-all contest between the Baltimore Vultures and the Vancouver Legion. Handoff to Roy Gaines, 2nd down and 6, working through week 4 of the 13th season of the Simulation Football League. And a quick update for you on the other game going on right now. Carolina Skyhawks currently are tied with the New Orleans Pharaohs 13-13. And that out-of-town scoreboard update was brought to you by ScoreStream, the official live scoring app of the Simulation Football League. Here's 2nd down and 6, 3:19 to go in the third quarter. Gaines gets a block, shoves the defender to the ground, and picks up 6 yards. And it'll be 3rd down and 4. And Kyler Murray really didn't have a chance there to tackle Gaines on the outside.
He was already engaged on a block as well, so I mean, you're just getting pushed on 2 sides there. There's not really much you could do as a defender. He did at least get Gaines out of bounds, which is what you really wanted. If you can't bring him down, just force him out.
Here is a pass out to the far side, and Bishop Warfield will grab a 1st down and more up to the Baltimore 41. And that's a play that the Vultures have used several times today, the sort of deep slant. And Warfield's caught about 3 or 4 of those passes for 1st downs. Now, the Vultures approaching midfield, locked in a tie ball game with Vancouver. Dazzo, plenty of time, throws underneath, and he throws an interception down the field. Here we go, to the 20, to the 10, to the 5, put it on the board. Pick 6, Xander Mack. Vancouver takes an unlikely lead from down 14 to up 7.
And that's a very strange play. If we get to look at it again, I mean, it really wasn't under pressure. That time he just threw a very erroneous pass right at, and that was just the easiest pick 6 into the end zone. No, he was just trying to hit the receiver on a curl route there, but that right there is just not how you throw a curl route. He tried to throw it underneath it, instead undersold his receiver right into the defender's hand.
Now it's +2 on the turnover battle for Vancouver, and they have scored 21 straight points to take the lead. Can the Baltimore Vultures respond? Find out next. This is the Simulation Football League on 11 Sports. Yeah, noted on the
very erroneous pass right at, and that was just the easy.
.234 to go, third quarter, in an amazing Monday Night Football contest between the Vancouver Legion and the Baltimore Vultures. Michael Trillo and Levant Mercer in the booth, bringing all the action to you from Canada Field tonight. On 11 Sports Network is Giovanni Bolt a very good kickoff return up to the 34-yard line. And now, for the first time tonight, the Vultures are behind, and the intensity is on Mike Dazzo and the rest of the Baltimore offense to make a comeback.
That's one of the points I was trying to make earlier, was just that they need to, like, at the top of the broadcast, we were talking about turnovers, and that's right now what's hurting Baltimore. 2 straight drives. They throw 2 interceptions, and that's really been the difference in this game.
Dazzo in the gun. Throws down the field to the right side. It's caught by Warfield, who breaks the tackle past the 40 and down to the Vancouver 30. Bishop Warfield, 71 yards tonight on 4 catches, and he's been the go-to guy for down the field plays for Mike Dazzo.
Yeah, right there. Just watch how he just destroys that corner off the line there with great route running, and then he sheds a tackle there. And that's just something you don't see very often in today's game. Someone who can route run and also shed tackles, that's just a dangerous weapon.
I see Lone Wolf is new in the 11 Sports Next chat. This is the Simulation Football League, a controllerless football esport. Teams are made up of real players, coaches, and owners who game plan every week, and the results are played out on the field live for you to see. Head on over to simulationfl.net and join our Discord community, and that'll get you started. It's an amazing place to be in the SFL as the 2-yard gain by Gaines. Trying to say that 5 times fast. It's going to be 2nd down and 8 from the Vancouver 29, and we said Baltimore needed to respond. They are doing it with some force here on this drive over the middle. It's almost intercepted again.
So I'm right there, just the usual suspect once again. The man from the pick 6 earlier, Mack, almost with the interception there. He's been able to read these plays as they develop. He has great play recognition, and right there was just on full display, able to jump the route to knock the ball away.
Xander Mack playing out of his shoes tonight, as well as the rest of the Vancouver defense in this second half. Here's a throw out to the far side to Warfield. He's been the most consistent receiver for Baltimore tonight. He's not going to be able to turn the corner, though, and it's going to be 4th down and 2. 1:35 to go. What do you do here if you're the Baltimore offensive coordinator?
I don't think it's necessarily time to go for it yet. I think you just take your 3 points and you just continue what you did on this drive on the next play. There's no real need right now, with 1:29 left in the third, to go for it. Just down 7.
And they've got one of the best kickers in the SFL in Shark Tarkington. He's 4 for 4 on the season. The kick is away, and it is good right down Main Street from 39 yards, which is a new season long for Tarkington, and the gap is lowered to 4 points. It's Vancouver 21, Baltimore 17. And after the pick 6, Baltimore needed to respond. That was a good drive, mostly working through Bishop Warfield down the field. And they respond a little bit, and now are only down by 4. And this next series is going to be critical for Baltimore's defense, I feel.
They've been off the field for quite some time, so they should be well rested. Conversely, Vancouver needs to make sure that they keep their defense off the field, because yes, they had the pick 6, but that means that their defense would be right back out there. And in a game this close, with only this much time left, 1:10 left in the third, and then a whole 4th quarter left to play, this drive is vital for both teams. Baltimore really needs to get their offense back on the field, so they need to stop Vancouver with a 3-and-out here.
Pepper under center. Nakai nowhere to be seen. It's 4 wide plus the tight end. Pepper 7-step drop. Throws to the near side left, and he's got Rich Pratchard out there. Beautiful catch at the 36-yard line in double coverage before he's wrestled out of bounds by Joe Dazzo and Amon Takes.
You know, he's been on and off again all game, but when he has the timing down, just look at right on a dot in front of 2 defenders. And that's just something that you see out of Pepper. Sometimes you see those flashes of greatness, and that right there is just another flash.
And Kaz McFly was there as well on the tackle. Not to undersell the Baltimore quarterback on his accomplishment on the last play. 52 seconds to go and counting. Here's Shooter Nakai back in the game. Breaks one tackle, can't get away from the rest of the swarm of white jerseys, but he will gain 4. Stay tuned on 11 Sports. All the Simulation Football League action tonight is right after this game. We're going to be showing the SFL documentary, learn how we got started and how you can be a part of our great league. And then 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern, right here on the 11 Sports Network. It's the game of the week, the Tallahassee Pride and the Denver Nightwings. Handoff up the middle to Kai. Oh, what a move from Kai to make a defender miss. And another spin move as he goes down the field. Only Giovanni Bolt's speed, and Giovanni Bolt makes an amazing tackle at the 11-yard line to prevent a touchdown. Another long run for Shooter Nakai, and Vancouver's in business.
All right there, they just messed up on the blitz right there. One defender over engaged, another got spun right by, and Bolt's great speed and he was just able to beat out Nakai. He was probably slowing down at the end of his run. He already shot for.
Will Vancouver be able to extend their lead as they're now inside the red zone after the long Shooter Nakai run? It's the end of the third quarter. Put your 4s up in the chat and get ready to go. This is the SFL, presented by APM Music on 11 Sports Network. Tonight's Simulation Football League broadcast on the 11 Sports Network is brought to you in part by Nation's Best Football, helping NFL, college, high school, and youth players help hashtag secure the bag. By ScoreStream, the official live scoring app of the SFL. By Sector 6, custom esports jerseys and apparel and the exclusive SFL shop provider. And by Spygo, dedicated to the craft of audio. Aerial shots throughout the SFL season are brought to you by AirViews, united by drone. Visit airviews.com, that's AIRVUZ.com, to see more drone footage, some beautiful shots of Vancouver and the surrounding areas as we get set for the final 11 minutes. Here from Canada Field, Vancouver with the 21-17 lead. 1st and 10, handoff to Kai, streaking to the end zone, and he bounces off a tackler in his hand. Put it on the board. Shooter Nakai has his second touchdown of the game, and Vancouver extends the lead.
Sometimes you just got to go back to what works, and that's what's been working for them so far. Those runs up the middle, no one's getting penetration up, no one's getting any blitzes in the middle, no one's been able to get and close up and stop up those gaps, and Nakai's just been able to punish them time and again once again doing it again for Vancouver, putting them up by 10.
And potentially 11 after the kick from Ramon Rakowski. And the kick is up and good. Your score, 28-17. And now Baltimore is in the exact same position that they had Carolina in last week. Down 28-17, or, well, they had Carolina down to 28-16 last week. But very similar situation in the fourth quarter. And their defense was able to stop a Carolina comeback. Now they're on the other side of the ball. Can their offense provide the spark that they need to come back in the next 10 minutes?
Here's the one thing that I do know about Baltimore. One thing that I do know is that Mike Dazzle has led quite a few fourth-quarter comebacks in his career. He's been having a very efficient game so far, except for, I guess, a couple of erroneous passes caused by pressure in his face. They're able to get him some more time, protect him a little more. He's going to be able to do some big things, but he can't be pressured because that's how he's been making his mistakes.
I formation, handoff, T-Roy Gaines, and Gaines will get 4 yards on first down right up the middle. Caden Carter in on the tackle. Mike Dazzo, an 8-season veteran of the league, tenured players on any team in the SFL, and he's played all 8 of his seasons with a Baltimore organization, either these Baltimore Vultures or before that, the Baltimore Crabs. Going back and giving you a little SFL history there. 2nd down and 6. Here's Gaines. Met in the hole by Carter. And this the second play in a row. Caden Carter has really laid a hard hit on T-Roy Gaines.
And not only that, he's been showing up so much more in the second half. He's been getting involved in the pass. He's been knocking balls away. He's been able to get into those gaps. And that right there, back-to-back plays, able to stop T-Roy Gaines, who otherwise has been having a great game so far with 138 yards rushing.
Dazzo on 3rd and 5, complete to Warfield. He's been the go-to guy all game long. Manakanaka brings him down to the Baltimore 45, but a fresh set of downs for the Vultures. Trailing 28-17 here, 9:35 and counting to go in this fourth quarter. Vancouver looking to hold on, even up the record to 2-2, and put Baltimore in the loss column for the first time this season. Dazzo under center. A receiver each side, and he goes near side to Warfield, who's out of bounds. As you see the coach there, Andy Hamilton for Vancouver, with the big incomplete sign.
I mean, he saw it a lot from his own quarterback, Pepper, so of course he's going to call it against Dazzle. I mean, if you're going to call it for one quarterback, if you're the coach for Vancouver, you're going to want it called for the other team just the same. That's just normal for them, right?
Dazzo 2nd and 10, checks it down to Gaines because nobody was open. He's going to drag a defender with him for 5 yards. Manakanaka was there, and then T-Roy Gaines continued to pull him like a sled drill in practice.
And that's why you do those drills in practice, because, I mean, that's what you're going to be doing in the games. That's one of those examples right there. So if you're a running back and you're like, why do I have to do this? Well, it's to be able to do that in the game when defenders are trying to drag you down.
3rd and 5, Dazzo, big play here over the middle, and it's in and out of the hands of the receiver. G.R. Malone had it, and then he dropped it, and it's 4th and 5 at midfield.
Once again, the Vancouver front seven was able to get pressure on him just enough. Always have to sack the quarterback to get effective pressure. As long as you could hurry his throw, make him just release the ball awkwardly. Balls don't end up in the receiver's hand. They end up in the ground or in the defenders. So that's what happens.
There's our chat on the right-hand side of the screen. If you want to join the chat and get involved, as you see British Canadian Moose is Craig Hearn on the field. Ram Voice is Rich Pratchard on the field. You want to get involved and talk with the community, head on over to twitch.tv/11sportsnext. That's where you can talk to everybody in SFL Nation. And if you want to be on the field, or if you want to be a coach or even maybe a coach someday, head on to simulationfl.net. and join our Discord community to get started. I could be calling your name in a future SFL broadcast. Here is Pepper. Pepper complete down the field to there he is. We just saw his name in the chat. It's Craig Hearn, the Moose, picking up a first down out to the 27-yard line.
Moose once again, which is a big catch right here in the fourth. Just no one around him. I mean, sure, there's like 2 defenders, but look, he has like 3-4 steps, 4 yards of space. That kind of counts as them not really being there in this league. And he's just a big target for Vancouver every time he gets the ball.
Hand off to Kai. He's been the main man for Vancouver today. He's got 2 long touchdown runs. A little bit slow to get up, but he will make his way back to the huddle. Other players I see in the chat that are on the field right now is TMG82. That's T-Roy Gaines, the Baltimore running back. Dazzo 0007 is Mike Dazzo, the Baltimore quarterback. And a lot of other people in this great community taking in our game tonight. Vancouver 28, Baltimore 17. Here's Tom Pepper, goes to the near side in double coverage, and another catch by Craig Hearn. Second verse, same as the first on this drive so far.
That's what having those big target tight ends that, we've started to see in football nowadays. They used to just be assets you used to help block, and you used to keep them in the back just to, protect the quarterback. But now they're getting out there. Now they're really catching passes, and that right there in double coverage. Soft hands there by Hearn.
Over the middle from Pepper to Hearn again. Hearns breaks a tackle and gets inside Baltimore territory and all the way down to the 31-yard line. 3 catches in 4 plays for Craig Hearn, and Vancouver are in business inside Baltimore territory.
That's just been the key for Vancouver. Just keep going back to what works. And on this drive, it just seems to be the Hearn show.
As my good friend Mike Daggs used to tell me, and still tells me basically every chance he gets, tight ends matter, and we are seeing it to a T on this drive. You can hear Mike Daggs and Matt Wilson on the call coming up tonight in the Tallahassee versus Denver game at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern time. Here's Shooter Nakai out of the backfield. He'll lose a yard. Good tackle by Hendricks Thornberry. And there's been a couple of standout Baltimore Vultures. Amon Takes, the linebacker, Hendricks Thornberry from the cornerback spot, have really done a good job in stopping Shooter Nakai. It's when they target other defenders is where Baltimore has problems. Second at 11. Here's Nakai and another great tackle in the backfield. And there's Joe Dazzo. Doesn't want me to forget him, the 8-year veteran also. Papa Dazzo, as he's called. It's 3rd and 13 at the Baltimore 34.
That time, there was enough penetration on the defensive line to make sure that Dazzo has a free lane to the ball carrier there.
Pepper to Nakai on 3rd and 13, and he threw right into the teeth of the defense. It's going to be no gain on the play, and it's going to be a punt. Good defensive stand here for Baltimore. Down 2 scores with only 5:23 and counting to go, as they're going to force a punt from Jess Johnston.
Copy that.
Kick away. Johnston's been an amazing punter all night. That's his 3rd punt inside the 10 and down to the 7. And Vancouver is going to have a long field to work with, down 28-17 when we come back. Don't go anywhere. The game is only just heating up. This is the Simulation Football League on 11 Sports, presented by APM Music.
Back.
Just over 5 minutes to go in this enthralling simulation football league game between the Vancouver Legion and the Baltimore Vultures. Vancouver trying to put Baltimore in the loss column for the first time this year, and T-Roy Gaines looked a little tired on that run as he failed the spin move. He had open field behind that defender, but he still gets 7 yards.
And he's already ran for 150 game. They've been doing everything they can, but look at these stats right here. 79.4 quarterback rating on 2 turnovers, and that's really been wider behind.
Here's a toss out to Gaines. He's got the first down and more. Out to the 19-yard line, and Baltimore start a hurry-up offense with 4 minutes and 30 seconds to go. Dazzo under center. Dazzo fires to Gaines in the backfield. He makes 2 tacklers miss and then gets caught up by his own blocker and gets 8 yards, and the up-tempo keeps coming here. 4:13 to go and counting. Gaines makes a catch. No gain, stays in bounds. They're stuck in this no wide receiver set. Gaines is going to get another catch. Gaines is going to try and power forward for a first down, and he's going to get there and go out of bounds to stop the clock. Great game situational awareness from T-Roy.
Like you just said right there, you're running a no huddle in a formation that has wide outs on the field. It's just a jumble heavy set. He knew that. He got out of bounds to make sure that the team got themselves in a better alignment for the situation.
Here's a 4 wide out set with nobody next to Dazzo in the backfield. 1st and 10. He's going to throw short to Warfield for 4. And an interesting call there to go underneath when you had 4 wide receivers.
Well, it has been working otherwise for them all game. I mean, that's just generally their style. And sometimes you know that they're going to be covering deep. You know, teams like to line up in a nickel and dime, sometimes even a dollar to stop these types of offenses. So you always have to have that one safety valve route.
They're back in the 3 top, 1 bottom formation. This time, Dazzle goes long, and this time Bishop Warfield bails him out with a diving catch across the 50 to the Vancouver 43. Here comes the up-tempo offense again for the Vultures. Now they're in this passing formation over the middle as Warfield again, 15, 16 yards and more on a first down. 3:26 to go and counting as they scamper up to the Vancouver 28-yard line. 2 long completions to Warfield in a row, and we're still going. Now down the field again, into tight coverage, and Bishop Warfield comes down with it at the 6. They're still going. Down to the 6-yard line. 1st and goal, 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Here's Dazzo to the end zone. It is incomplete, and the clock stops with 3:05 to go. And I can finally take a breath.
Looking to play again right here, Mark Lopez. There's not a lot of space over the top anymore. He just got his hands there, tried to take the ball away. Someone else knocked the ball loose, but still great play by the Vancouver defense to hold them off there.
Now you can open up the playbook a little bit. 2nd down and goal from the 6-yard line. 3 minutes and 5 seconds left. Remember, Baltimore still has all 3 timeouts, down by 11. Bunch formation right, single left. Dazzo throws short, but it's caught, and walking into the end zone for the touchdown is Mike Montgomery. Put it on the board. The Vultures are not dead yet.
Right there, they just went back to that trips bunch formation that they've been in for most of this drive. And here the corner just tries to play the ball and doesn't get there. And that's how Montgomery got to the end zone. No one else was actually covering him. Someone tried to be the hero and play the ball and not the man. And sometimes you need to play the man.
As the ball was in the air, I thought to myself, why is he throwing short of the end zone? And then well, that's why. Because here's a 2-point conversion attempt. T-Roy Gaines not going to get there. Beautiful lateral speed from the linebacking core and safeties of the Vancouver Legion. Gus Schultz denies him, and it's 28-23, a 5-point game. We're going to take a break and come right back to Canada Field. This is the SFL, presented by APM Music on 11 Sports. Out of the field, the location for a fantastic football game. Here is the onside kick fielded by Vancouver. And easily taken out of the sky by Trey Lawson. And now it's all in the Vancouver offense's court to try and run down the last 3 minutes of clock. Because if the ball gets back to Mike Dazzo and Bishop Warfield on the Baltimore offense, you saw what they did on the last drive.
Yeah, we did. For sure, they went no huddle all. In case you missed it.
Hand off to Nakai, just trying to run the clock down. We're under 3 minutes to go. 4:52 exactly and counting after the run. Amon Ticks brought down Nakai for no gain. And Baltimore may still get the ball back if their defense holds without a first down here, but they may have to burn some timeouts to do it.
Yeah, I'm not so sure why they went with the onside kick with 3 minutes remaining in the game, but, you know, it's not my decision to make.
I mean, if you get it, your offense is real hot, so I understand the theory behind it. Here's Nakai, and again he's met at the line of scrimmage. He falls forward for one. Courtney Kate is there to make the tackle. Just a huge shout out to all the Baltimore linebackers, as this is going to go all the way to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to go. Vancouver up by 5. Baltimore trying to stay undefeated. How will it end? Find out next. This is the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music on 11 Sports Network. Michael Trullo, Lamont Mercer on the call for this one. Man, it's been a fantastic game so far. 3rd down and 9. This could be the game right here for the Baltimore Vulture defense as they trail by 5. Handoff Nakai. Oh, it broke through, but he can't quite get there. He's going to be 3 yards short. Baltimore burns a timeout, and they're going to have a chance, Lamont.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have a chance there. Now with less than 2 minutes on the clock, but, you know, that's that time for Dazzo to make his magic. That's where he earned 2-minute drill. He's one of the best in the league at it. The only one better, in my opinion, would be Matt Wilson. But, you know, that's a contentious point.
Punt from Johnston. He's been fantastic. Received at the 10. Giovanni Bolt goes to the 13. It's going to be a long field for Baltimore. Down 5. This could be a classic in the making, ladies and gentlemen. Stay right here. Don't change that channel. AJ today, Jackson in the chat says, I'm exciting football today. You betcha. That's Ashley Jackson, community ambassador and quarterback for the Tulsa Desperados in the chat. All right, here we go. Game on the line. Here's Mike Dazzo over the middle, caught 9 yards, 2nd down and 1. Clock at a minute 41 and counting. Here comes the no huddle up tempo offense that worked so well for Baltimore rather on the last drive. Pass over the middle is caught. First down and more up to the Baltimore 35. Dazzo, back to pass, throws to Gaines. Gaines with some work to do, gets up to the 40-yard line. That's a 5-yard gain, but crucially did not get out of bounds. Dazzo over the middle, into the zone coverage. It's complete to Holder. First down at midfield for the Vultures. They are driving. They are swooping towards the end zone. There's the chat. That's just how everybody's reacting on 11 Sports. Next is the pass over the middle is dropped by Malone. He's dropped 2 passes on 2 consecutive drives, and maybe time to look elsewhere. Maybe to number 15, Bishop Warfield.
Now, Warfield's been hot all day, but at some point you do have to trust other receivers. Now, I understand what he was going for there. Up-tempo offense isn't very easy to handle, you know. The game goes at an accelerated pace. You have to be ready for anything.
If you want to join the chat and make some memories in the last 52 seconds of this ball game, head on over to twitch.tv/11sports. Next, it's a sidearm underhanded throw that is complete down the field. And it's going to be a 3rd down and 3, and crucially, Dennis Isaac got out of bounds.
Yeah, something Gaines couldn't do earlier, as he was saying in chat, calling for himself to go out of bounds. But that right there, that's how you do it. You stop the clock now. Now you have your whole playbook open to you.
4 receivers. Dazzo over the middle, caught by Lloyd Graham Jr., the tight end. He bails out Dazzo on 3rd down. And now they're inside Vancouver territory. Dazzo saunters up to the line. 7-step drop. He throws over the middle of the field into the defense, and it's incomplete. It was looking for Edward Morgan across the middle, and it was knocked down. Somebody wearing blue back there. Couldn't quite see who it was. I know that Gus Schultz was in the area. Mark Lopez was in the area. Caden Carter was also there.
Well, speaking of Schultz, there have been cries from the Baltimore sidelines for a late hit there on the tackle on Morgan that we saw there, but no call.
32 seconds to go. Baltimore still with 2 timeouts. Dazzo pressured, gets it out to the fullback. Chad Morgan. They burned their 2nd timeout because Morgan couldn't get out of bounds, and now it's 3rd and 8. They're down by 5. A field goal doesn't do you any good. They got to get 8 yards in the next 2 plays. Or better yet, just get it into the end zone. 27 seconds to go. This crowd here at Canada Field is loud, trying to support their defense to try and knock Baltimore into the losers column for the first time this year and cheer their boys on to 500, 2-2. Dazzo looking long into one-on-one coverage. It's hauled down inside the 10, down to the 8. Daly Holder bails him out again. 15 seconds to go. No timeout from Baltimore. Dazzo, end zone, incomplete. Knocked away by Gus Schultz and Mark Lopez. And 9 seconds to go. Baltimore, what do you say? They get 1 or 2 shots at it.
I feel like with 1 timeout remaining, not a lot of, field to cover. I think they even have up to 3. I think they have at least 2 plays left in them.
I do want to bring up a little bit of SFL history here. I have called 2 Vancouver games where their passes have been dropped on final drives for them to barely lose. Could the opposite happen today? To the corner, and Holder can't get in the end zone. It's going to be 3rd down and goal with 6 seconds left from inside the 1-yard line. And if T. Roy Gaines wants to be called one of the greatest rushers in the SFL, this is where you make your name, son.
Yeah, being right up on the goal line, even with 6 seconds left, you have a timeout. So if he doesn't get in, you just call it a timeout. You got to run the ball here, I feel.
I formation, Dazzo under center. It's all going to be about which offensive line can get the pressure. The crowd waits with bated breath. 3 seconds on the play clock. They're going to throw. Dazzo to the end zone. Touchdown, Baltimore! Put it on the board. Ty Jordan makes the catch, and the Baltimore Vultures have come all the way back, and they're in position to pull off one of the most shocking comebacks in SFL history.
You know, sometimes I feel like the world has it out for Vancouver. We've called several Vancouver games where it just seems like they have it until the last moments, and then something happens at last minute, and they just can't close it out.
They're going for two. Gaines. Close. Didn't get there. So it's a 1-point game with 3 seconds to go, and basically all you're looking for here is a miracle return.
Honestly, if I'm Baltimore, I'm squibbing this kick. I'm not even giving Vancouver the opportunity to return it.
Oh, wait. Upon review, they gave T-Roy Gaines the 2-point conversion. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. Here's the kick. It's going to be on Brandon Jacobson from his own goal line. Time is out, and the tackle is made at the 20, and the Baltimore Vultures remain undefeated with a fantastic fourth quarter comeback to win the ball game. 31-28 your final, and the crowd here at Canada Field is silenced.
You know, even with 2 turnovers on the day, it looked dire for Baltimore, but you know, it's just like what I said before. Dazo has been known for fourth quarter comebacks, and he's just proved it out there today. Vancouver gave them a fight. Let's not forget, they really came back. They came back from 21 down to get into the lead. They held the lead for quite some time after that. They got up to 28 points, but their defense just started breaking down again, and this change of game plan from running the ball with Gaines to just passing over the air with Dazo that just threw everything off for a loop. You would have thought he wouldn't have passed the ball anymore after he threw 2 picks, but they have faith and trust in this quarterback, and he brought him back in this game. You know, there have been worse games before where quarterbacks have thrown for 4 interceptions and they throw for 5 touchdowns to win the game, and that's the grit you need in this league to win games.
The last 3 minutes of this game was a Mike Dazo masterclass. We've seen it throughout his career, 8 seasons in the SFL, and he leads the Baltimore Vultures to 4-0 on the season. This is a Baltimore team that made the semifinals last season, and they're looking to go one better. They will stay at the top of the Simulation Football League standings. And now, Levant Mercer, I need your player of the game, and I think I know who you're going to choose.
It's got to be Mike Dazo. He's the one that won the game for Baltimore, for sure.
I don't think it could be anybody else. T-Roy Gaines had a phenomenal game. Sudo Nokai had a phenomenal game and a losing effort. 2 long touchdown runs for him. Bishop Warfield and Daley Holder for the Baltimore receivers. 2 fantastic games for them down the field. So many third down conversions for Bishop Warfield. Just an incredible game of football any way you slice it. And the player of the game has got to be Mike Dazo. 423 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 100.3 quarterback rating. And it's just about that time to say goodbye from Canada Field. But before we leave you, we got to remind you that there is more SFL action coming up tonight. Right after this, it's the SFL documentary. Learn more about how the Simulation Football League got its start. And then at 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, it's the Game of the Week with Mike Daggs and Matt Wilson for Tallahassee against Denver. But for my co-commentator, Levant Mercer, I have been your play-by-play commentator, Michael Cirillo. An instant classic comes to an end from Vancouver. We will see you next time. Football any way you slice it. And the player of the game has got to be Mike Dazo. 423 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 100.3 quarterback rating. And it's just about that time to say goodbye from Canada Field. But before we leave you, we got to remind you that there is more SFL action coming up tonight. Right after this, it's the SFL documentary. Learn more about how the Simulation Football League got its start. And then at 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central,